So this is the one thing I'm talking about with this car, with these small tires. It just... does that everywhere.
Huh, you don't say.
Kind of sucks.
Seems to have some sort of, something slipping in the back there.
That's what I was thinking. It was the clutch maybe was bad, or...
The tires might be bad. You want to let me give it a shot and I'll see if I can figure out what the problem is?
Yeah, you should check it out.
Once we finish welding up the inner frame rails, we tack the upper shock mounts into place. Then we double check that they were level and in the right position, welded them up for good, and we were able to bomb the whole thing with some black spray paint.
We already went through, chopped off about half of the frame, welded in these frame pieces that they provide, a bunch of different reinforcements, and this upper coilover mount to replace the old shock mount because we had to cut out a bunch of metal in here to get the clearance we need. The whole point of this thing is to fit a giant tire underneath Lucky's Chevelle. And as you can see, there's a ton of room now to fit a fatter tire. And that's what we're going for, right, Lucky?
What are all those extra parts for?
Okay, so there are a couple parts left. This is a reinforcement plate that goes underneath and will weld in just next to the lower four-link forward mount. And this, they provide, is a coilover mount for your rear axle. Since Lucky already has provisions for coilovers on his Fab 9 rear end, we're not gonna use this, but it's nice that it comes with the kit. We have a 255 5017 on here now, and we're gonna try to squeeze a what size tire on there?
Well, the provisions are, the manufacturer, ABC Performance, they say you can fit a 3, 35, 30, 18, 19, 17, whatever you want. That would be great if I was just going straight. But I inadvertently may turn left or right from time to time, go in and out of a driveway, hauling the dog around the back of the car, groceries, whatever. So for articulation, I'm gonna go with a 315. It's gonna leave me a little bit of extra room on the inside. And I think that'll work out great.
Okay, so we've got Lucky's 66 Chevelle back down on the ground here on the lift. We pulled the body off the frame, we did all the frame stuff first, and now we're gonna go in and we're gonna install these wheel tubs from ABC Performance. Now you could do this with the body on, it would be a bit more of a pain, but it's definitely doable if you wanted to do it in your garage. You would probably cut the wheel wells out first, then use all that access to weld in the frame reinforcements and do all the cutting and stuff underneath, and then this would just be your final install afterwards. We're gonna use a little bit less of the wheel tub kit and leave a little bit more of our stock metal on there. So we're gonna trim this flange off and just have it meet on the flat surface.
There's a hinge reinforcement that's attached to the wheel well. And since we are moving the wheel well over 2 inches, the hinge reinforcement will interfere with it. Also, way up underneath, further forward, there's another reinforcement. You can hardly see it. You can put a blade on a Sawzall, reach in there and cut that free and clear. One thing to remember is towards the rear, we're not making the wheel well 2 inches longer. So we need to stop at the edge right there, maybe factor in that little bit of a turn and then go straight over. And then the thing should just drop out on the ground. This is a 2-inch roll of tape. And I just laid that on there and I have a nice visual, because this is all an approximation. When it's all said and done, it's gonna be more than 2 inches, which is fine, because this is 8 inches. Did you see that wire get short? I think I may have hit it. Wonder what it does.
There it is.
There it is, you got it.
Okay, so after the initial rough cut, we tried fitting the inner wheel tub on the driver's side, made a couple more cuts, massaged, did some grinding, moved a little bit more metal out of the way, and we're finally happy with how this thing fits. So we've got some tech screws in there just to hold it in place so we can mark the metal, then we will clean up all of the factory metal so we can start welding this thing in for good. Okay, so we have both tubs in now, and they're welded from underneath. As you can see, there's a bit of a gap here and there on the inside on both of them. So we're gonna have to make some metal pieces to fit, and we'll probably tack them and kind of hammer them and try to stretch them as best we can. And then maybe make a couple of pieces to build in the gap here and there. Once that's done though, we'll have to connect the hinges back to the wheel tubs. Then we'll paint everything, drop the body back on the frame and see how everything fits. just finished welding in the last filler pieces, and I think it looks really good, especially for a couple of metal fab amateurs, basically. We wiped everything down with brake cleaner. Now look, he's gonna come through, and he's gonna seam seal everything. He's actually gonna use 3M panel bond, which is a sealer, but it's also a really strong adhesive to make everything a bit stronger. Where are you? You ready?
It's the stuff, dude.
Okay, so we've got the tubs done. They look great. Frame is done. That looks awesome too. All we have to do is sandwich this thing back together, and we can take it back out on the road for some more fun.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Give it a shot. We'll do it. I'll do it. I got it. You get it. You do second time.
Hardly fair.
Second time.
So when we were putting in the head studs, everything went in fine except for the short ones at the top. So we have the tap. We're gonna just chase all the threads with a nice clean little tap. And I'm taping it up so that none of the metal shavings go into the motor. Join us, won't you?
I don't really know if I should recommend this or just have a disclaimer that this is not something I would probably do myself.
Yeah. But cars with muscle,
If you have more than
cars
like
with
2
muscle.
minutes to spare,
Engines with
do
muscle.
it by hand. The LS9 is a multi-layer gasket, so it's going to seal a little bit better. And since this will have increased cylinder pressure from all that airflow and the boost of the supercharger, these should help out. So what are these AFR heads?
These are the 72cc.
And the intake valve is a 2.080, and the exhaust valve is a 1.6. 233 cc intake port flows up to 328 CFM.
So we got the studs in, we got the washers all installed. They give you an assembly lube that you just put on the bottom side of the nut. It stops metal from metal, basically. It stops it from galling and still allows you to have an accurate torque specification.
So it's time to torque down these AFR heads with the ARP studs. Now, every time you get a fastener kit, there's going to be specific torque instructions. These guys are nice enough to give us a cool procedure as well as the torque values. Every car has a pattern. Every manufacturer specs one out. And it's just to basically start from the inside and sort of work your way out to make sure that the head lays down flat.
Okay, so we just got done torquing all the heads down. That all worked out great. Cleaned up all the push rods, checked the measurements. They all check out just fine. I'm gonna drop them all in, and then Tony's gonna come in with the rocker arm assembly, and we're getting a little bit closer every minute.
Every engine's different. LS has separate pedestals, so you want to make sure that everyone is lined up close enough to get on top of the push rod. And then we're going to spin the motor over as we torque it in to make sure that the cam is on the base circle of each rocker as we tighten it down.
So I just got done taking off the truck accessory drive and the lower harmonic balancer. This is the Corvette harmonic balancer. This will move all the accessories, belts, drive, and everything closer to the engine block, which will allow us to put a heat exchanger between the core support and the front of the engine. We're gonna have that much room.
It's going to take a lot of power from the crankshaft to drive that supercharger, and these things tend to spin, especially on modern engines, which aren't keyed, they're just slip fit. So there's a cool solution from Magnuson, and what we're going to do is use this little fixture, drill a place to drive 2 pins in between the crankshaft snout and the dampener. So now that we have these holes drilled, when we install these pins, there's no way that one will be able to spin without the other one.
Next stop, the water pump. Called Rock Auto. Pretty sure we ordered the right stuff. There it is. Rock Auto. I feel like a horse is going to come galloping in when I do that.
So now it's time to put the valley pan on for real. Lucky put some new O-rings in the bottom we were waiting on. Here it goes. Great job, everybody. Ready for the fun part?
I'm ready, buddy. I've been ready.
The crowd's going crazy. It's making it look really heavy.
Act like it's all heavy.
Oh, man, all right. One,
Wait.
2. Perfect.
So we've got the Magnuson supercharger laid onto Lucky's 6.0. Now we're just gonna bolt it down, and then we've got a couple different things to figure out, but it went right into place. Belt alignment looks good. We're well on our way. So we just spent like 25 minutes goofing around with different accessory spacers, trying to get everything all figured out.
It was more like 45.
It was a long time. Water pump, on, off, on, off, on, off, short, mid-length, long, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, we've got it all figured out. Turns out we don't have the stuff we need. Let's throw this motor in the car while we have some stuff overnight.
So Sean just got done making another pull with the Chevelle. We got over 550 horse at the rear wheel, over 600 foot-pounds of torque, which is just astronomical compared to what it used to do. We ran out of gas at higher RPM and started to drop off, which means we need to replace the fuel pump, which means there's more ponies in there. Other than that, I am stoked. I'm super stoked. I want to take this thing out on the road and drive it around.
That's what I'm saying. Let's go.
I didn't know he was standing right there.
Time to go. Let's party.
Hey, you know when I said we're supposed to break it in 150 miles?
Yeah.
I lied.
I love it.
Push me back.
Let's see how she does. Woo! It sounds cool.
It does.
Take a tired out old 6-liter truck motor and bolt on some AFR heads and a supercharger, and it is badass. Yeah, this thing screams, huh?
Yeah. You want to get into a fight? That's
Yeah.
where you go.
Those things look pretty tough, and they're already tired of our shit, I can tell you that much. We're just about ready to put this motor in, and Lucky's got this new toy.
The Max Pivot Tool.
Yes.
They make these things with all kinds of different side brackets for different motors.
Yes.
They're super popular with LSs because they make brackets for them.
That's cool. So this is LS-specific lift device.
It is.
And this just gets, the hook goes right on that.
Yeah, the hook hooks on that, and as you twist that bolt, it tilts the motor.
Look at that thing.
Ready?
Level as can be. Dang.
Okay, so right now I'm fitting on the flywheel. This is a balance component, part of the entire monster clutch setup that I got on here. Your mind is going to be blown by the amount of clutch technology just getting ready to go into this.
So we wound up using ARP LS3 style. It's a package of 8 bolts, part number 2342801. The head of the bolt gives the clutch disc the clearance that it needs to spin freely, we think.
On paper.
Yeah, we'll let you know in a minute. And this is a twin disc, fully organic material clutch. So anytime you add a ton of clamping surface area, which is what a twin disc does for you, you get a ton more clamping force. It means you can hold more horsepower. And since it's still an organic clutch, it's very drivable on the street.
And biodegradable.
Yeah, honestly, I've never seen anything like this clutch. This is pretty wild.
I was just like, you know what? I need something that's aggressive and calm at the same time.
Right, it's time to install Lucky's new 6.2-liter LS that is fresh as can be. Probably the best motor you've had in here, really, right?
It's the largest displacement.
Okay, there you go. Bigger is better.
Yeah.
All right, keep coming in.
Yeah.
How's the front? Up.
Super close.
The problem is your fan. Any regular car, this would slide in, but we're gonna pull the accessory drive off.
The heck were they thinking when they built this?
Let's make a sweet, compact accessory drive that works on these cars at a great price point. You don't do it at least twice, you're not hot rodding.
Fries are done.
Fries are done.
Remix. Fries are done.
Fries got done right there.
Fries are done. Have you ever driven this car with the 6-speed?
Yeah.
What, with the sequential shifter?
No, I've not.
Oh.
It's been a while.
This is something new that you'll never get to do. Cool.
No.
So anyway, this is my T56 I bought originally off of OfferUp, and then I sent it out to Rockland Standard Gear, and they did the Magnum conversion on it. Okay. It's called the Tranzilla S1 sequential shifter. Still have to use the clutch, but yeah, boom, boom, boom for down, and pull, pull, pull for up, and reverse lockout.
All right, cool.
All right, want to put it in?
I do.
Okay. How you like this high-speed bleeder?
It's beautiful. If you want to bleed your transmission from the next county, it's awesome.
Yeah, exactly right.
That was it right there.
How about now? We got a spline issue or what?
Can't really be. Shove it in. Whoa, dude, that is my billet S1 sequential shifter you're manhandling back there.
Don't pull it out and spin it. Stab it again. Can you come back far enough? All right, we're always learning here on Hot Rod Garage. I've learned one thing you want your engine to do is spin. We put those ARP bolts that I earlier gave you the part number for. Don't use those, because they will go all the way through the crankshaft and grab part of the block and lock that thing up tight. We're going back to stock hardware. It should be totally fine. That's what he used to run in this setup before, and everything should be copacetic.
Okay, that's great. Let's pull it out one more time.
Yeah.
And make sure it's right.
Cross member's going in. Like he's got this sweet, I don't even know, lattice work cross member. That thing is
Hey,
tough.
you know what?
Trellis, that's what they call them.
It's a trellis.
Trellis. Boom! Coming down.
Seems like we did a few things like a bunch of times.
Yeah, we installed 5 bell housings.
Yeah. 2 clutches.
2 clutches.
2 flywheels.
Yep.
Transmission 2.5 times.
Yeah, but here's the deal. Motor, trans are in the car.
Yeah.
Clutch is hanging on. The motor still spins. I did
The car steers.
push rods, rockers, all that stuff's dialed in. We started, it's got exhaust on there.
I did chocolate chip, macadamia nut.
That's
I
nice.
did pecans and some
yeah.
oatmeal earlier.
Sweet.
Yeah.
One more day left to get this thing up and running. Not bad
That's
for
it?
2 dudes.
You quitting?
3 days.
And Air 5. Okay, so one of the deals with building cars on budgets is you're always looking for that cheap horsepower. Seems super obvious, but everybody overlooks it, is hot air is being forced through your radiator, reheated, and then forced down your intake. Everybody likes to put a big giant air cleaner on it and suck up all the hot air in your engine bay. It doesn't make any horsepower. It costs you horsepower. So I think I saw this on an old NASCAR. So I made my own on a budget. So this is some aluminum I had laying around the shop. I didn't have enough to make the base, but I did have a construction sign. I'm sure it didn't say bridge out. I'm sure it was just, construction of some sort. And got to
You
use...
upcycled it. You didn't even steal it.
Exactly right.
You upcycled it.
I upcycled it,
It's
yeah.
good for the environment.
Yeah, it's going to end up back on the road at some point. So.
Definitely.
And the trick here is when this is sitting on here, on the top of the hood, and I have foam glued to the bottom of the hood, when you open and close the hood, it seals this. So now the only air I can get is off the windshield.
Thank you, Mr. Wizard.
Mr. Wizard. Yeah. So while the radiator is draining, I'm going to start pulling off some hoses. So these are those super bad AFR Mongoose 240.
All my cars have AFR heads,
Yeah.
actually.
Yep, I have AFR on everything that matters. This is the Holley mid-mount. Everything comes off in one piece. We'll let it drain right there. Accessory drive is out, intake is off. I'm gonna measure the reservoir, and if it's shallow enough that I can mount it above the heater hose and AC line, that's the route I'll go. I'll put it on this side. If it will not fit, then it goes on that side.
You're really feeling that side?
Yeah, if I put more stuff on the passenger side, it allows me to have more cookie breaks. Yeah, I sit on the driver's side. So I'm offsetting, I'm compensating for driver's weight.
When you put it like that.
Passenger side makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of cookie breaks, some of that loaf is still over there.
Cookie loaf.
Cookie loaf.
Yum.
We'll be right back. Okay, so I pulled out the wheel well. The lines will go out of the firewall here where they're going now. They'll go above the wheel well and then dip down underneath the box. And the box will peek out of the wheel well area. So let's just see how that works. That all worked on paper. One more line. I might be able to go over with that one. Holy schmoly. It looks like it's gonna fit.
Oh, it looks good right there.
Look at that. I feel good about that. Time to start getting some accessories going on here. This is just a stock water pump. This one is spec'd out by Vortec for their accessory guide. It's the second most important component. It is the AC bracket. We're gonna see if this fits. Fries are done. So if you rewind back to one of the last episodes of the last season, me and Tony put the 6.2 in here. We went with this whole Holley setup. Multi-port fuel injection rails, 66-pound injectors, 4 on each side. 4 injectors on each side. They just didn't have any 4 injector setups there in stock, so we went with the 8 injector. 2 injectors per hole. Also, the top comes off like that. Let me set this right here so that you can appreciate the goodness that is going on inside here. That is a tuned surface right there. Air to water intercooler from Tick Performance. Water will circulate in and out through a heat exchanger to cool the water, through a reservoir to hold the water, and then be pumped in and out of the intercooler. And air, metered through a throttle body, goes right through, blows through that. It's pressured air, it's compressed air from the supercharger, creates heat. This will then cool it down before it goes into the motor, which will allow you to put more boost into it, make more horsepower. The more boost you put in, the hotter it gets, but the more horsepower you make. So it just keeps going. It does not get any better than that. Let me flip it over, install the O-rings. We're gonna set this on right now. These intakes don't use gaskets. They use O-rings, which is very cool. You have to do it just right or you get an air leak. Man, I was hoping I could tighten every one of these this much at a time. It's taken me half the day, but I finally got all these bolts tight. I'm using a little bit of assembly oil just to not tear an O-ring. So we've got to line up each injector without pinching an O-ring.
This is looking pretty good.
It does, huh?
You look like you got lots of potential
Potential, yeah.
for super high
This has the
horsepower.
potential for crazy horsepower. Here we go. Here. This is heavy, huh? Here. Are you lined up over there?
I am. Clear over here.
Yeah. I'm gonna just say that this looks pretty good.
It does look pretty good.
Okay, start sticking stuff on this car. See what fits. Well, alrighty then.
I need you to win, bud.
I'll do what I can.
All right. All right, Lucky. You got it. You got it. Go. Nice driving, Captain.
Ooh, that one's close.
All right, we're 1 up.
You know he's gonna try and cat a light on me.
Nice driving.
Not bad for half the power.
I think he thought he had us there.
Yeah.